This weekend, the Sports Car Club of America returns to America's National Park of Speed, Road America. Across 2 grueling days of competition, 23 champions will be crowned in an event unique in motorsports. For over 400 drivers, a season's toil culminates in this single event with a chance to earn a coveted gold medal and the title of national champion in the 62nd edition of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Sunoco.
Elkhart Lakes Road America, the home for the 62nd running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Sunoco. Our broadcast of this Hagerty Race Day, presented by Mazda. Thanks so much for them. My name's John Phippen, and alongside Tom O'Gorman, as we're ready to bring you the action for this Touring 3 National Championship for 2025. The third member of our broadcast team is Hayward Wagner down on the pit lane. Hayward.
Guys, T3 is a cool class, and sometimes it gets forgotten. T1's the super fast cars, and T4 is the super approachable cars, but T3 has some really cool cars in this field. On pole, we have a Nissan 370Z. We've got a Mustang right behind it, a GR86 right behind that. So a lot of diversity, a lot of excitement on this grid. There's also a little bit of sadness on this grid this year. A mainstay in this class, Alpine Motorsports owner, Dan Spyrick, passed just a few weeks ago. His family able to be here. Jim Lighthouser was his longtime mechanic, and Jim is qualified, I think, 7th or 8th in this field, very much carrying the torch, carrying the flame, keeping Alpine Motorsports alive in Dan's memory.
Thanks so much, Hayward, for that memory. We appreciate it as we are getting ready to send these cars out on their formation lap. But before we do that, we've got to take you around a lap of this 4-mile circuit as the Mazda track map coming up next, and Tom O'Gorman will take us around.
And these are pretty quick cars here at Road America, getting around under 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is proper here in the 4-mile Road America circuit. Starting off with Sector 1, the fastest of the 3, top speed-wise anyway. Down into Turn 1 for the green flag. We can easily go side by side, inside, outside, anything works. Then into Turn 3 before the long run down to the speed traps at Turn 5. Now we get into the handling section of the course, as I like to call it, in Turns 5, 6. Not quite flat out in Turn 7 as the tires get hot, but certainly on the first laps you'll be able to do it. And then a big braking zone at Turn 8 that comes up quick in these 300 or so horsepower cars. The run through the carousel then leads us into Sector 3, another great passing opportunity at Turn 12. A nearly flat-out run through Turn 13. You flick it up over a blind crest, and then you get it on the brakes for a bent braking zone. Really tricky to place, especially in these much more production-based, softer, and heavier GT-style or street-style touring cars.
So that's a lap around the circuit, all 14 turns of it, as we are getting ready to release these cars out behind the safety car for their formation lap, as we've got 2 former champions in the field. Marshall Mast starting in 2nd spot, a 5-time and defending champion of the class, and James Lighthouser, we talked about him, the 2004 Showroom Stock B national champion. He's in the BMW Z4. So before we get underway here, let's take a quick moment to thank some of the partners that make this broadcast possible.
Okay, track day checklist. Let's go. You got your gloves, your helmet, water, snacks, sunscreen, your car is prepped and ready to go. Ugh, forgot your track day insurance, didn't you? If you want to be covered for the whole value of your car, you need high-performance driver education coverage through Hagerty. We'll get you a policy for track days, time trials, and more in less time than it took you to apply that sunscreen. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up. Shopping for tires used to really rub me the wrong way. That was before I went to TireRack.com. TireRack's tire decision guide made it easy to find the right tires. Talk about secret sauce. You might ask, well, you bought them, now how are you gonna put them on? No problem. TireRack has thousands of recommended installers. I chose one that does mobile installation. A technician brought the tires right to my house. He's installing them now.
Almost finished, Herb.
Take your time. I'm just marinating. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Cars coming out of the pit lane for this T3 National Championship run here in the 62nd running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Sunoco. I'd also like to thank Mazda for presenting the live stream for these Haggerty race days. Down to 2 race days this weekend as we've got 18 races to contest. We got some doubles coming up, but this one is all T3. With Nick Hammond on the pole in the number 41. Driver from right here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, although he races out of the Kansas City region in his Nissan 350Z Nismo. Right behind the Mazda safety car. And then the 5-time champion Marshall Mast right behind him in the number 31. Out of the Philadelphia region, that Phoenix Performance Mustang will be one to watch for sure. The highest placed rookie in the field is also the youngest driver in the field. 16-year-old Juan Carlos Leroy Gonzalez out of the Florida region in his Toyota 86, so that'll be fun. Scotty B. White, another veteran campaigner in his 45th runoff start, still looking for his first gold medal. He's been on the podium 4 times in his career, but still looking for his first gold. Could this be the year, as he's in another of the Ford Mustang V6s? Chris Hart inside of row 3 in the number 5 out of the Northwest region in his Nissan Nismo. Next to him, James Lighthouser, Jim in the number 06 out of the Colorado region. The 2004 Showroom Stock B champion. He's in a BMW Z4. Gama Aguilar Gomez out of the Northwest region is in the 109 car. That's another Nismo. Next to him, another rookie, the 15 of William Bolt out of the Atlanta region in a Nissan 350Z. In row 5, the 73 of John Logodis out of the Milwaukee region in another Ford Mustang. And another rookie next to him, the 117 of Jeff Ryan out of the Colorado region in a BMW Spec E46. The ageless Michael Pettiford in his 51st runoff start in the number 4 car inside of row 6. That's a Pontiac Solstice GXP. Next to him, the number 11 of Roger Eagleton out of the San Francisco region in another Mustang. He's the winner of the Hawk Breakthrough Performance Award, picking up 2 positions between Thursday and Friday qualifying. Andrea King back in the field in the number 08. She starts inside of row 7 out of the Land O'Lakes region in her BMW 330 Ci. And next to her, one of the 2 oldest drivers in the field, Daniel Moen in the number 3 out of the New England region in his Ford Mustang V6. And next to him, just behind him is the 33 of Randy Johnson. They're both 71 years of age out of the Northwest region in a Ford Mustang EcoBoost. Philip DePippo alongside him in row 8 in the 94 out of the New York region in another Mustang. And then in row 9, the 121 of Robert Damler out of the Indianapolis region in a Mustang GT. David Muramoto in the number 7 out of the Colorado region in another Nismo. And then alone in row 10 is the 39 of Edward Karabek out of the New England region in a BMW Spec E46. As the field making its way out of the Thunder Valley into turn 14, getting ready for the start. The Nismo of Nick Hammond, Marshall Mast, the 5-time and defending champion. Anytime you see one of those Phoenix Mustangs, you think that's going to be a tough car to beat.
The 2 on the front row here are truly both stars of this paddock. They qualified less than a 10th apart, and the 2 almost a second and a half up on the rest of the field. This is going to be a knockdown drag-out as we come to the green flag.
And that rookie, Juan Carlos Leroy Gonzalez in the Toyota 86. He's going to be an X factor. We'll see how that shakes out. There's the green. Hammond with a bit of a jump, but the torque of Marshall Mast's car is going to give him a little more grunt heading down toward turn number 1. Hammond holding steady on the inside, though. We'll see if Mast can sweep around as they both get on the brakes. Hammond's going to hang on to it, and then slotting into third spot is Scotty B. White in the 0.
Yeah, it's a great start for Scotty B. White, now trying to defend the inside as he gets deep on the brakes. Marshall Mass going to have to keep his eyes up in the mirrors for a moment as Nick Hammond gets a little bit of a breakaway. And then Gonzalez in the GR86 with a good run up the inside on the exit of turn 3. Just not enough guts in that 2.4 liter GR86, the lightest car in the field, but also the lowest power output. The field clean and clear through turns 1 and 3, down into the braking zone for the first time. Looks like the Mustang a little bit faster down the straightaways. We're coming into the handling section though, and this will be a big tell. Lastly, Chris Hart with a poor start, and Gomez with a fantastic start. A touch in the mid-pack. It's going to be a spin for the 73.
That's John Logodis out of the Milwaukee region as he gets around, and one of the Nismos into him, but they're both able to continue. That's the good news. Didn't get the number on the Nismo in the back there, but we'll get a replay on this.
I think this is the 15 of William Bolt. Just a little bit of a touch, and in fairness, really squeezed down on the apex. A little bit of a toss-up between those two, although Bolt really deep on the brakes down into that corner after a little bit of a struggle at turn 3. Mast has really responded in this middle sector as well. Both of these cars less than 100 pounds apart as well. Very similar wheel and tire sizes. This is a pretty good heads-up battle between those two, and now Gonzalez with another look. Whoa, Hart with a big off in the background. He gathers it up, but the number 5 is struggling.
Just a bit as he works his way through the kink.
Gomez also with an off at the kink, loses a little bit of underbody, now flapping underneath that neon liveried car. Really cool wrap on it. Michael Pettiford picks up a couple positions in the yellow Solstice as we stream down through Thunder Valley. And Scotty B. White running wide, running defense on Gonzalez. The GR86 picks up third spot yet again after starting there. Dropped back for a couple of corners, less than 4 miles did he sit in 4th position, now sits 3rd again.
Lighthouser in that 06, the yellow BMW, just behind this group. Scotty B now having given up that position to Gonzalez, the rookie, in the Toyota 86. But Hammond and Mast at the front. Hammond setting fast lap of the race on the first lap. And Gonzalez up into the middle position. Scotty B just behind him. And again, the Mustang's probably going to have a little better top end speed as Scotty comes down toward turn number 1. You can see Michael Pettiford in the Solstice, that yellow Solstice, making his 51st runoff start. Right behind him, the 117 of Jeff Ryan and the 08 of Andrea King into the top 10.
Pettiford from 11th to 8th, mostly on the grace of that contact between the other two cars, both able to continue. But he'll take the positions no matter how. And then a couple of these spec E46 BMWs on the background. As I mentioned his name, oh no, commentator's curse.
Oh no, Pettiford with a problem as he's off the pace here. Coming out of turn 3, that car is not up to speed.
Gomez shows the nose down the inside. The 370Z goes through on Jim Lighthouser in the M Coupe. That M Coupe always so fast in straight lines, but it is a much heavier car than you'd think. It appears small, but they keep the minimum weight pretty high for Touring 3 here. That's going to let Chris Hart get back to this battle just a little bit closer. This is for 5th.
Right, Gomez up into that 5th position now, as Lighthouser now in the sandwich. But you can see that bodywork shaking on Gomez's car.
Doesn't look like much on camera, but I'll tell you in the cockpit of the car, it sounds like an earthquake. It is not fun to have your bumper vibrating like that, and that's due to dropping some wheels last time through the kink. It's also not going to be super effective for the aero. Luckily, these cars not highly reliant on that, but it's not going to be as happy as it would be otherwise. Chris Hart on a little bit of a recovery drive, trying to get back into this top 5 battle. Hammond led the way at 7/10 deficit to Marshall Mass last time through. And again, a very heads-up battle between these two.
You can see Gomez's car, see that under tray vibrating as that splitter is not happy. He's going to shake the front end right off of that car as Hart gets the move done on Lighthouser. So Lighthouser goes from 5th back to 7th on this course of this lap as they work their way through Thunder Valley and head down toward turn number 14. Gomez and Hart in that pair of Nismos. The Nismo and the Mustang, definitely the preferred mount for this class, as we see most of the field either one or the other, but the few outliers. But Gomez's car continuing to shake, rattle, and roll on the front. He won't have any trouble gathering leaves up in his radiator with that.
That's for sure.
That vibration will make that happen. His hardest looking racing here, trying to make the move to take over that 5th position.
That time by at the start-finish line, excuse me, John, it was the fastest lap for Marshall Mast, but less than a 10th faster than Nick Hammond. So they are exchanging blows, essentially running qualifying pace. And something to keep an eye on, these cars are not particularly light. They're about 3,300 pounds, and they have to run, or they get to run, a DOT racing tire. So it's rated at 60 tread wear, I believe, but it is still a technically street tire, street-up bull tire, but they are not super durable when it comes to pushing them for 13 laps on a big heavy car like this. So it's going to partially come down to tire degradation. Hart up the inside.
Hart to the inside of Gomez, and he's going to try to allow Lighthouser to get through there as well. I'm sure Gomez is a little shaken up by that that vibration at the front of his car as they work their way through turn 7. Now that Hart's gotten by, looks like he might have a little momentum to work his way forward. Can he close down on Scotty B. White? He's about 5 seconds behind him right now. So we'll see now that Hart's in clear air if he's got anything as we turn our attention back to the battle at the lead. The pole sitter, Nick Hammond, and Marshall Mast in the Phoenix Mustang.
That Z looked perfect coming out of the carousel. The Mustang also looking very nice. And I paid really close attention to qualifying for Touring 3. I wanted to see what the approach was from both of these drivers. And Hammond essentially did 1 lap, 2 cooldowns, and 1 lap, and wasn't able to go faster. That very first lap was his fastest. Marshall Mast did a lap, 1 cooldown, and then he did 2 more, and they were all essentially the same time. The best I can tell from qualifying, the Mustang has a little bit more durability in its pace, but that's just from one data point of watching qualifying at 1 runoffs. We really don't know for sure. The only other difference besides the Mustang being a little bit heavier, the Mustang also gets slightly wider tires, but they're on the same width rim, so they're going to perform the best. They're going to perform very similarly. However, a little bit less tire, a little bit more heat sensitivity. I think Hammond probably has a little bit more management to do with the Z at the front of this race.
But at the moment, he's got a pretty comfortable lead. As they cross the line, it's just over half a second. So Hammond, at least for the duration of the lap, looks to be stretching his advantage. But here comes Mast, again, with a little better top-end speed. But he's, again, not quite as good on the brakes, as, again, that heavier car probably doesn't stop as well as the Nismo in front of him. Little flash of the brake lights on Mast's cars. He makes sure he's got the pads well seated. Now here comes Lighthouser back on Gama, as Lighthouser retakes that 6th position at the end of the front straightaway. So Gomez, Aguilar Gomez back to 7th position as Jim Lighthouser in the BMW takes over that position. Chris Hart has disappeared from this battle. He's already 2.5 seconds up the road. There you can see the red number 5 disappearing over the hill as they head under the Sargento Bridge.
It's about 5 seconds up the road to Scotty White in that blue Mustang, but the lead battle is heating up ever so slightly. Once again, Marshall Mast was a 10th quicker at the start-finish line, but I'd say he was significantly faster through the first and the beginning half of this second sector. We're working their way down the hurry downs now. The Mustang is ever so much bigger in the mirrors of Nick Hammond. He's your 2014 GT Academy winner. Those of us of PlayStation days, way back in the day, a winner of that program, and raced a car almost identically looking to this in pro racing back in the day. Liked it enough to get one of his own, but now does all the work on it himself. And again, both of these two drivers just absolute stars of our paddock, even though they may not be in some of the classes like Spec Miata that always pull you to the fences. They are up there with the best of them.
Marshall Mast in only 9 runoff starts with 5 victories. So that's a pretty good hit rate for Marshall, for sure, as they come down into Canada Corner. Both those cars look so planted, man. I mean, there is no wiggle anywhere as they are on rails, working their way out of Thunder Valley. Definitely these two, the class of the field. They've got almost a 6.5 second lead over Juan Carlos LaRue Gonzalez, the rookie in the Toyota 86. That's Roger Eagleton, Jeff Ryan doing battle, the 11 car of Eagleton with Ryan in the 117. And then right behind him, Andrea King in the 08. Andrea in that BMW 330 CI. We've seen her a couple times already today. As Marshall Mast thought about making a move on Hammond down into turn number 1, but then fell back in single file as they work their way downhill into turn 3. The gap to Gonzalez up to almost 9 seconds now as they continue to stretch away. Their lap times, Mast in the low, his last lap was in a high 29, Hammond in a low 30. And there's a pass, the 73 around Jeff Ryan.
John Logoudis on his recovery drive got the tag from the number 15, William Bolt, who's just in the background there, the 350Z. But Logoudis, relatively local out of Wisconsin, on a recovery drive, just picked up that position from the 117. You mentioned Jeff Ryan, now gets to focus on the back of Roger Eagleton on the slightly older, both still stick axle Mustangs. The newest Mustang in the field, Scotty White, that's the only one with the independent rear suspension. So the other drivers dealing with the older chassis, still absolutely capable of good performance on its own. You'll see Marshall Mast in particular squaring up the exits, trying to get to forward acceleration just a little bit sooner than the Z in front of him, carrying more radius, carrying more speed through the apexes rather than trying to get off the corner quite so quickly. But Logoudis, I think, is going to make relatively quick work here of Roger Eagleton if he can get the nose just down inside. I almost thought he was going to go for it at turn 5.
Logoudis, of course, starting in the top 10. I think he was 9th, and then dropped back to 15th after that incident down to the bottom of the hill at turn 5. And there is the pass, or the attempt for the pass.
That was a big lunge at turn 8, but he's not quite able to realize it. Gets stuck around the outside of the carousel. These big, heavy cars, you got to be either brave or smarter enough to not do it. And that's going to hold up Jeff Ryan just a little bit, the much lighter but lower powered car. And in the background, another big off, but back on for the 15. William Bolt pushing for everything he's got. Eagleton sweeps nicely through the kink, drops a little bit of time, and a couple of car lengths now back to Logoudis.
Bolt was the other car involved.
Scotty B. White.
Scotty B. White off at Canada. That's your 4th place car. He is about 5 seconds in front, and he's off the pace.
That's a left front tire failure for Scotty White. An issue on that car, now with a flat tire working his way back up towards, and it's another car with a Goodyear logo with the fender, and a tire failure for that car. Unfortunate, heartbreaking. He's now going to get past for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, just now going by 11th. And these short races, they feel long, but they're certainly not long enough to take a pit stop and throw a new tire on it. That's just tough.
Yeah, pit stops are not part of sprint racing competition in the SCCA. So tough break for Scotty B. White.
Looks like he was actually closing up nicely on the back of Gonzalez in the GR86, but the tire let go somewhere between the exit of the carousel and the kink. He made it all the way to the braking zone of Canada Corner, went to the brakes, realized it wasn't going to stop, did the smart thing to square it up and just run it off the edge of the track. Luckily, only a tire to replace, no bodywork.
There's the 33 of Randy Johnson going around to Pippo, I believe. Philip DePippo in the 12th position, gives up that position, so Randy Johnson in the 33 up into 12th spot.
And I misspoke earlier. Scotty B. White running the V6 S550 Mustang, that newer chassis, but that's Phil DePippo's car is the EcoBoost, the Turbo 4. So a couple of different options, a couple different minimum weights, but all very similar Mustangs when you get it down to it. They're going to try to at least throw it up, put a tire on it, and let Scotty go back out. And at least salvage. I'm going to guess they have the chance to maybe not go a lap down. Depends on how much faster Hammond and Marshall are. By the way, Mast and Hammond continuing to duke it out. 4/10 at the line last time by. But for the first time, I think, Hammond was quicker.
This battle between the two Mustangs of Randy Johnson and Philip DePippo as we go back to the front now, as Nick Hammond has begun to eke out a little bit of an advantage. It's up to about half a second for the Nismo, number 41 for Hammond, the pole sitter.
We're into the window where that tire degradation is going to start to pick up. The tires working their way over 200 degrees at this point. They're going to start to protest, and you have to drive the car ever so smoother to not make mistakes. That's the biggest thing you're trying to minimize in these races. These two drivers essentially turning qualifying laps back to back to back. It's 85 degrees out here in Wisconsin. Yes, in October in Wisconsin. That's a toasty temperature for these 3,300 and some pound cars to be lapping 13 laps of Road America.
And we're just coming up to halfway as we're working race lap number 7 of this 13-lap or 40-minute race. And Marshall Mast using up all the track and then some at the exit of turn 1. These two having it all their own way. 11 seconds in front of the Toyota 86 of LaRue Gomez, who's pretty much by himself, as he's another 12 seconds in front of Chris Hart, who took over the 4th place spot from Jim Lighthouser.
Oh, Marshall Mast got really close that time through an exit from turn 3. That was fantastic. Almost gave him the opportunity to look up the inside of Hammond down into turn 5. And there's a good look at that GR86. Really cool cars, and glad to see that they're finding a home in SCCA Touring somewhere, that they can be competitive on his way to a bronze medal if he can keep it here. And it's certainly the outlier in the class, only 2,700 pounds to make up for the lack of oomph under the hood.
Yeah, the youngest driver in the field and making his first runoff start. So that's a great way to start his career for young Master Gonzalez out of Miami, Florida. As our leaders working their way through the carousel. Slip angle on the Nismo, maybe a little greater than the Mustang. The Mustang looks a little more planted, but the Nismo looses fast, as the old saying goes. Looks like he's able to maintain that advantage despite a little more slip angle as they head into the kink.
Mast running the V6 version of that that early 2010s Mustang. Really threw it into the kink that time through, looking very confident with that car. But Hammond has yet to slip up. It's masterfully executed race from both of these drivers.
I can't see that paint job and not think of Andrew Aquilante, who has dominated this class for so many years. And
missing this runoffs weekend to make a run at the Mustang Challenge race down at Charlotte. We wish him luck.
Yeah,
I think they had a race today and a race tomorrow, but it's the Marshall Mast show right now for Phoenix Performance. Gets a little bit of a poorer run than Hammond out of that final corner. And I noticed the last time through, the rear camber on that car is absolutely stood up to get the power down in that stick axle Mustang. Phoenix guys obviously know what they need for those cars to work.
And once again, Mast really gets a good run on the front straightaway as he's able to close right up on the back of the Nismo by the time they get to the braking zone for turn 1. And then this 3-car battle deeper in the pack. Roger Eagleton, Jeff Ryan, William Bolt. Actually, Bolt just behind Eagleton now, as Ryan in the BMW at the tail end of this group.
Sound of that Nissan just singing underneath our voices here on the broadcast. That's William Bolt trying to make up the position. We saw John Lagudis pick up a couple moments ago. Roger Eagleton probably tired of these cars showing up in his mirrors as they make up their positions. Underbody also flapping on the 73, that Mustang in the foreground, but I think Bolt is going to easily cover. Eagleton slots back into now 8th position, or sorry, 9th actually.
So I'm not sure Logudis is looking forward to having Bolt in his rearview mirrors once again, as those two came together down to turn 5. Logudis in the 73 Mustang V6, similar to Marshall Mast's car, as they head down the hill. This battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th if you count Jeff Ryan in the BMW at the tail end of the shot.
Ooh, another big braking issue for the 350Z. Bolt's going to run a little bit wide. These Nissan 350, 370s are not particularly known for their braking performance. Oh, and he gets another little touch. Whoa, wow, Jeff Ryan squeezes him nearly off the track. Didn't want to let him back on. Technically, you don't have to. That's the only track limit rule we have here, but that was tight stuff under the bridge at Corvette.
Yeah, it is the car who goes off. It is their responsibility to rejoin safely. The field is not obliged to open the door for them to get back on track. As we get a replay of this down into turn 5, and yeah, you can see that car got squirrely just as soon as he stomped on the brakes. And then he takes the rough ride over the gator's teeth, and then here comes Ryan right alongside.
Just a little kiss there on the back bumper.
Just a little hip check It's almost hockey season, so they're getting ready for it.
At the start-finish line, just keeping a tabs before they pull the pin on the battle, but it's now down to 2/10 between these two. Hammond continues to lead the 370 over the Mustang V6, but for the last 2 laps, Mast has been 2/10 quicker than the Z in front of him. At this point, I can't imagine there's much management happening other than mistakes. We don't want to see any big mistakes, but I don't think you can really back down too much. Try to keep the car cool, try to keep the tires cool. None of that's really on these drivers' minds as we're working lap number 9 of 13. About 4.5 laps to go.
These guys are well out in front of the third place runner, almost 15 second, make it almost 16. Here comes Mast down to the inside. First real attempt at a pass, but not quite close enough.
I think that was one of those, is he going to give it to me? Is he going to give it to me? Hammond saw it coming and decided to go for it either way. Didn't take the bait. Mast lost a little bit of momentum from it. It's going to be slower this lap. Looks like maybe 7 or 8 tenths now between the two, I guess. But it's still on. Marshall Mast had to work so hard to get there, though. He's just learned his lesson that maybe he's got to pick his spots a little bit more carefully.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what's going on in his mindset right now. He's looking for the spot, whereas we get into the closing laps of this one. We've still got 5 laps to go. He's looking for where he's strong enough that he can maybe make that move on the last lap, because they have virtually identical pace, within 2/10 of each other on that last lap.
I tell you, I feel like I'm back in 2010, a racing fan watching this kind of stuff. These two era cars battling it out once again with these classic liveries. This is so cool at the Runoffs in 2025. Marshall Mast still trying everything he can to try to get back to the back bumper of Nick Hammond, who's run a perfect race so far. Down at the Canada corner for the 9th time.
Absolutely. Working race lap number 9 of the scheduled 13. As this field really spread out now. Almost 30 seconds back to the 5th place runner, Jim Lighthouser. As these two will settle it amongst them if they can make it to the end, as they've caught up with some traffic. And now Ryan all over the back of Roger Eagleton. Eagleton in that number 11, running in 8th spot. Bolt is missing from the picture, whether he has gotten out in front of this group or has dropped off behind.
I think he's about to pop up right about there. Yep. Yes, he is.
There he is.
About 500 pounds difference, the advantage to the BMW, only about 2,700 and some pounds. So the long run's going to go to the advantage of that car, the white and red. But Eagleton holding him off still.
Ryan just showing him a fender, letting him know that he's there as they work their way through Canada. The Mustang with the rear wing optional, of course. That's part of the equalization formulas for these. As the Bimmer of Jeff Ryan out of the Colorado region. One of our 3 rookies in the field, so having a pretty good run for his first start.
Oh.
Back to the front as we're going by a lapped car. That's the 3 slowing of Daniel Moen.
But even before that, that's the first chink in the armor I've seen from Nick Hammond. He was completely sideways through the apex of turn 6. Maybe a little bit of tire deg showing up for the first time. Nick Hammond with a little bit of a slip up. Not enough to give Marshall Mast the opportunity to make a move, but now he's absolutely glued to the back bumper of the Z into the carousel. With only 2.5 laps to go, if my math's correct. Marshall Mast appears to be the stronger car, but Hammond still has the advantage.
Working race lap number 10, so across the line there'll be 3 to go. And Mast looking a little more impatient at this point. He's beginning to, rather than just staying line astern behind Hammond, he's been showing him a nose at just about every turn. Let's see what he does coming down into Canada corner this time. Hammond getting a good run through the valley there as they come into Canada. Not close enough to pull the trigger. But yeah, Hammond's car looking a little tail happy, and then trouble for the 42 of Juan Carlos LaRue Gonzalez in the GR86. That's your 3rd place runner. That's going to promote Chris Hart up to a potential medal position.
Really unfortunate mechanical failure there. Looks like it just pulled off on the left side of the carousel, and oh dear, we're going to a full course caution. Stewart's not enjoying where that car ended up, and with 3 laps to go, 14 minutes on the clock, if this isn't a quick extraction, Nick Hammond's going to inherit a much easier last couple of laps than we expected. Come on, hurry up, guys. This is getting down to it for us to keep our entertainment, huh?
Exactly right. They're having a quick chat with the driver to see if it's flat towable as the field reduces their pace. And the safety car will pick up our leader, Nick Hammond. So just a quick recap. Nick Hammond, your leader from the jump. Marshall Mast in second spot. The new third place runner will be Chris Hart in the number 5. Jim Lighthouser will be fourth. Fifth goes to Gama Aguilar Gomez in the 109. John Lagutis in the number 73 Mustang in sixth. Seventh goes to Roger Eagleton. Eighth to Jeff Ryan in the Bimmer. Ninth to William Bolt in the number 15 Nissan. And Andrea King into the top 10 in the 08 BMW 330 as they'll all pack up behind this group. The third car in your shot is the lapped car of Daniel Moen, the number 3. He is the only car running to have been lapped by the field. And with this yellow, we'll just take a quick break to allow some of our partners to get their word in, and we'll be back with you, hopefully, for the thrilling finish of T3.
My name is Danny Richardson.
Eileen Blondo.
I'm Ryan Cheek.
I'm Connor Zilish.
I'm from the San Francisco region.
Part of the Central Carolina region of SCCA.
It just fosters the best, not only in me, but in the cars that I could bring.
I grew up around this amazing community that created me for who I am today.
I belong to the SCCA.
I belong to the SCCA.
I belong to the SCCA.
I belong to the SCCA because every time I come to an event, I feel like I'm at home.
We're back behind the safety car. The lights are still on, but they won't click out for a bit. Usually as they approach Canada Corner is when the lights will go out on the safety car to indicate we're going to get a restart. We are working race lap number 11. So if that's the case, we should have a 2-lap dash to the end. And getting word that we may well see the checker this time by. I hate that when we have to finish behind the safety car, but again, safety is the determining factor that the stewards will make, and if they deem that the disabled car of Juan Carlos LaRuz Gonzalez is in an unsafe position, they will neutralize the field to allow the safety workers to get out and attend to it. And the lights are still on the safety car. So this is not a good sign, because the story was basically that we will not do a green checker. He has to have at least 2 laps left to go so they can show the green and white simultaneously. And then that would be a 2-lap dash to the finish, but it looks like that is not going to be the case here.
It would have been a great opportunity for these drivers to cool the tires down and get a restart. But either way, for a 9-lap race or a 13-lap race, both of those drivers at the front put on both a heck of a show and a heck of a performance. Nick Hammond slipped up maybe once. We saw one little slip from that car. Otherwise, a perfectly driven race. Marshall Mast took every possible opportunity that he could. But indeed, it will be a 10-lap race, essentially under green. Checkered this thing a little bit early. The reality is we're butt up against a cold stop time here at Road America with one more race to do, so you can't hate on it too much, even though we hate to see it. With the Nissan 370Z for the local driver from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, coming to the checkered flag under us just now, Nick Hammond.
Nick Hammond taking the win. Marshall Mast denied his 6th national championship, but Hammond takes his 1st. And then heartbreak for the rookie, Juan Carlos LaRuz Gonzalez, who retired from 3rd. But take nothing away from the 5 of Chris Hart as he takes the Nismo up into 3rd spot. So Chris Hart will take the bronze medal. And then Jim Lighthouser in the 06 black and yellow BMW in the 4th spot.
I have to say, sorry, John, but I have to say in the camera shot there, Scotty White ends up in the blue. He didn't finish 3rd, but he would have if that tire didn't get cut somehow on the front of that Mustang. So that's a really heartbreaking moment. But otherwise, I think that would have been a really strong performance. He'll end up 1 lap down. But how about that first championship for Nick Hammond? After so many attempts, he's been at the front, this is, I believe, his 3rd attempt, but he's always knocking on the door. You have to feel like it's inevitable at some point, and it finally comes true for him at his home track, no less.
His best finish was a year ago in this class, right here at Road America, where he finished 2nd. So 1 step better in his 3rd start. So good on him. We talked about Mast in this being his 10th runoff start with 5 victories out of 10 starts. That's a great hit rate. 8 medal finishes, so he's only finished off the podium once in his 9, now 10 runoff starts. So that's one to watch as the number 31 for the Phoenix team, of course. The Aqualante family out of the Philadelphia area, producing race-winning cars for many, many years in SCCA competition. So the unofficial results show Nick Hammond as your winner. Marshall Mast taking the silver medal, Chris Hart the bronze, Jim Lighthouser finishing in the 4th spot, Gama Aguilar Gomez in the 5th spot, John Locadis in the 7th, Roger Eagleton, Jeff Ryan, William Bolt, and Andrea King rounding out the top 10 in the unofficial results. As T3 goes into the history books. And a nice slow lap behind the safety car as they head down Hurry Downs. There's a good shot of Andrea King in the 08 BMW 330 CI. There at the tail end, the 94 of Philip DePippo. DePippo in that green EcoBoost Mustang out of Mattituck, New York. But your top 3 finishers, the blue Mustang, again a lap down after that cut tire, so he's not in the finishing order. Jim Lighthouser just off the podium in that yellow BMW Z4. Behind him, Gama Aguilar Gomez in the 109, brightly colored Nismo. John Lugudis in the number 73 V6 Mustang. Roger Eagleton in the 11, Jeff Ryan in the 117 BMW. And William Bolt in another of the Nissans, the 350Z. And Andrea King rounding out the top 10. Randy Johnson finishing on the lead lap in the number 33 EcoBoost Mustang. Just in front of Philip DePippo that we saw in the earlier shot. David Muramoto in the number 7 350Z Nismo. Robert Damler in the 121 red Mustang GT. Edward Karabak, the last car on the lead lap, finishing 15th in the number 39 BMW Spec E46. So it's not the way we like to see them finish, but a finish it is. And the national championship has no asterisk next to it.
Of course not.
Nick Hammond takes his first gold medal, and he well deserves it.
Obviously a personal best for the winner there, but also a personal best for Gama Aguilar Gomez in the brightly wrapped Z, a couple cars back. Love to see PBs and improvements, as well as wins and podiums, of course, here at the Runoffs.
Absolutely right. As our top 3 making their way into Parc Fermé and into the view of our own Hayward Wagner, who will have a chance to chat with these top 3. Be curious to hear from Marshall Mast if he was just biding his time, thought he might have something for Hammond. But that's one of those that we'll never know. Hayward first on the scene.
Pull the helmet off and talk about it.
Nick has a good cheering section, apparently. As you can hear the cheers from his crew. Unhook the Hans device, get the helmet unbuckled, glasses off. Hayward, we're ready if you are. We'll send it down to you once we get the medal on the winner.
There you go. Quick interview, then we'll get you on your way.
Hoosier neck warmer. It's not really warm today, so the Hoosier guys are handing out some neck thermals. How was your afternoon, sir?
It was pretty incredible. Just amazing. I mean, I obviously didn't want to end under yellow, but just a testament to my dad, Dick Clifton, Babyface Fabrication. The Hoosier tires were great the whole race, right? And my Carbotech brakes. Big shout out to Mike Puskar Sr. You know what I mean? I know he's not at the track this weekend, but he got with me in 2019, and I've been a customer since. Just amazing products.
So you just said that you wish it had finished under green, which is obviously what we all wanted. Yep. But it looked to the guys in the booth like you were starting to lose the rear of the car just a little bit. How much relief was there when you saw that yellow?
When I saw the yellow, it was a little relief. You know what I mean? Marshall's an incredible driver. You know what I mean? To be the best, you got to beat the best, and he is. You know what I mean? That's why he's how many multiple-time champion. So just incredible. You know what I mean? I just can't thank, you know what I mean, my family. Paragon Brakes has been with me too, performance parts for the whole season and last season as well. It's just an incredible weekend.
You should probably thank your passenger.
Yeah, definitely. My wife, you know what I mean? It's not easy marrying and building a car in the first year of marriage and this second year, right? So just an amazing weekend. Thanks to my wife, thanks to my dad, my whole family. And Clifton Shane came all the way to Ohio to keep the car looking clean. Hopefully it looked good on camera. And just incredible weekend.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy your victory lap.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Nick Hammond, his first national champion. You can tell he is a happy camper for sure. And Tomo, I think we were right. I think it was going away from him, and he knew he had his hands full if it had stayed green all the way to the end. But we've got two other medal finishers here. Let's head back down to Hayward with our second and third place finishers.
I am guessing that you were starting to salivate a little bit watching that Z car slide around. How did you feel when you saw that yellow?
Pretty disappointed. You know, how can you be super mad about how that race? I mean, we just rode the wheels off those things for 11 laps. You know, I really would have loved to get that 13 in because, yeah, when the caution flew, I had my best run on him coming out of 14 of the whole race at that point. So, yeah, bummed, but, I mean, hopefully we put a good show on for the fans.
Heck of a race. Congratulations to you on the silver.
Thank you.
We're going to bring Chris up with the bronze. 2 Nissans on the podium. How's it feel to be a Runoffs podium finisher?
Oh, well, just like he said, it's a little disappointing. My car's just been off all week. We struggled. I mean, I'm happy that we ended up where we did, but, you know, we need to thank Nissan, G-Lock Brakes, my buddy Eric who comes along with me, and, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't a very exciting race for me. It was pretty boring.
Well, you got a hardware at the end, so that counts for something. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hayward. Congratulations to our medal finishers. As this one sadly ending behind the safety car, but a championship is a championship, and Nick Hammond takes it. Let's look at some highlights of this race, as there was plenty of action in this one. It's a good shot of young Juan Carlos LaRue Gonzalez getting buckled into his car for his first start. At the start, Hammond getting a pretty good run, but Marshall Mast using the torque of that Mustang. And then we had this incident between Bolt and the 73. Of John Logadis early in the race. They both did a nice recovery drive. There's Aguilar Gomez, that car rattling. There goes Hart by him with Lighthouser battling just behind. As those three put on a dandy battle, and then this is what brought out the yellow flag. As LaRue Gonzalez came to a stop, and that was what made it happen. So with that, we've crowned the top 3 finishers of the T3 for 2025. I'm John Phippen along with Tom O'Gorman and Hayward Wagner. Thanks for being with us at the SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Sunoco.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, offer less than a set of race tires. Haggerty, let's drive together.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Shopping for tires used to really ruffle my feathers. That was before I went to TireRack.com. TireRack made it easy to identify the right tires. No more searching high and low, I got the best deal. TireRack has thousands of recommended installers. I chose a mobile installer. They brought the tires to my neck of the woods and put them on, right here in my driveway.
You're all done?
Thank you. When it's time for new tires, trust the experts. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.